All right, I am Rmelnick. I'm here with Timothy Melnick today. How you doing?
Good. How's it going?
Not too bad. You are the creator and owner of Security Plus Service.
I am.
Based here out in Orlando, Florida. Prior owner, looks like you sold it.
Yes.
At one point, you were the owner and operator. So we're going to conduct a little interview today. I have some questions for you, if that's all right. Security Plus Service is a security company. You want to tell us a little bit more about exactly what you do?
We were a security integrator / burglar alarm company, and we did burglar alarm, fire alarm, closed circuit TV, and access control. And mostly here in the Central Florida, state of Florida is what we covered. And installed systems, monitored them, and offered service agreements for those systems.
Very cool. So my first question I have for you is, were you interested in the security industry before you started the company?
I was in the security industry, so I had about 5 years experience in the security industry before I started the company. I always wanted my own business and I always wanted to be in business. I didn't know what kind of business, and the security industry was a growing business, also tied to somewhat to construction. So it just ended up kind of being the business that I wanted to start.
So when you came out of college, was that one of the first things that you did, or did you already know you possibly might want to go into that industry? What exactly led you to that?
No, never heard of it when I came out. I got a sales job in security and I learned more and more about the business. Like I said, I always wanted my own business, so it just happened to be the business that I wanted to start, and there were some things in there that were attractive to me.
Right.
So
that's awesome. A lot of the industries people don't know about are the ones that are the most profitable.
Yep.
So that's definitely true. So what would you say from starting your business until, at the end when you sold your company, what would you say the biggest mistake that you made throughout your time with the business?
Well, the biggest thing in the security industry is reoccurring monthly revenue, what we call RMR. Recurring monthly revenue, and that's the revenue that the customer pays you every month for monitoring, for service agreements.
Right.
So you sell a system, like when you go into Best Buy and buy a camera, they always ask you if you want a service agreement.
Right.
Well, that's that's about 80% profit, those service agreements. If you do a good job of installing that system, that service agreement's going to be 80 or 90% profit. And then the monitoring, is when you get an alarm on a system, and you have a company who monitors that system, that's about 80%. And that RMR is actually traded in the industry and bought and sold. So what you want to do is you want to increase that. So probably my biggest mistake is not getting more RMR. And the greatest thing about my company was how much RMR I had.
Right.
So you always look back and say, I could have done more. And that was probably my biggest mistake, was probably not getting more RMR, especially right there at the end when I sold it. You get they call it getting the bride ready for the wedding. We could have made her look a little bit better.
Right.
A little more
RMR. So you would say, as a sense, we know this is a service that you're providing. It's a service business.
Yes.
So would you say more of what the business that you were doing was more of a service, or did you also sell products individually to your customers? I know you provided maintenance and whatnot with the RMR, but did you also sell products directly to the customers?
We viewed our company as a service company, and the name of the company was Security Plus Service.
Right.
And what we felt we could do better than the other companies out there was provide service. So we had standards that we set, like 24-hour turnaround on service. So if a customer called in and wanted service, we would get to you within 24 hours. And that was unheard of by companies like ADT and Stanley and that are out there now. They're a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks behind on service calls. We were getting to our customers within 24 hours. So we elevated ourselves above the competition by doing that. We still sold product, but what we felt like, you can sell any product. You can get a product anywhere. What distinguishes you from other companies, the two things that we felt we had to take care of were our employees and our customers.
Right.
We took care of those two and offered good service, we'd be fine. And it did work.
So in a way, it's kind of scaled the same way with the comparison of something like eBay to Amazon, where as they're both providing the sale of products online, but Amazon provides with Prime the 2-day shipping, which says, hey, you can get this product now, and you're providing a service that someone like ADT, they're a bigger company, they would come out and say, yes, we can come out, we may not be able to get out there for a week or so.
Right. Yeah, and a lot of people don't know that when they go in with a big company. They don't know what kind of service they're going to get on the back end. But Amazon's a good example, because not only are they providing a huge breadth of products, but they're providing it very, very quickly.
Definitely.
And at a reasonable price.
Interesting. Very interesting comparison there. So how would you say you learned the basic business practices of the security industry, the lingo, how to make deals, how to form contracts? How exactly did you learn that throughout your process of being an owner of a company like that?
Well, a lot of that took place before I got my company or started my company. You know, when you're in business and when you're working, you never stop learning, and you're always reading and you're always talking to people. The biggest important thing that I thought, the most important thing I thought I did was I call it talking to the old man, getting to know the guys who've been successful in the industry, asking them out to lunch, asking them out to dinner, picking their brain. Most of them want to help younger people in their industry,
right.
And they want to see those guys succeed. They want to be tutors. They want to be helpful. And if you just ask, they'll tell you everything you need to know, and they'll tell you the pitfalls and where to, you know, what to avoid and how to set things up. And I learned a lot from a lot of guys who really helped me out. Mm-hmm. And that's probably the biggest thing I could tell somebody is ask the old man. Ask that guy who's like 65, getting ready to retire from the industry. He's been in it 30 years. He knows it all.
Right.
And he'll probably want to really tell you about it too.
Definitely. So what, on the flip side of things, because you had experience in the industry, you had some prior experiences that you knew how to deal with once you got your own company. What would your advice be to someone that goes into an industry with a lot of risk because they don't have the experience? And you know, what advice would you give them going into that new industry? Mitigate your risk as best you can. Everybody's going to take some risk. You know, if you don't risk, there's no reward. You just need to mitigate your risk. A couple of rules I had: I never had more than in debt in my company. I never had more debt than 12 times my RMR. So if somebody was paying me $100 a month for RMR, which just taking a round number, then I wouldn't have more debt than 12 times that. So right. $1,200 in debt. I know I could pay it off if I sold my RMR for $100 for 12 times that. RMR usually sold for around, at that time was selling between 35 and 40. Mm-hmm. So I had it more than covered. That kept me financially, that made me, and then there were other things that I had to learn, like lien laws and stuff like that. And I made some mistakes. There were some people that didn't pay me and I couldn't lien them because I didn't file my notice to owner at the right time. And there were bumps in the road, but yeah, that's part of business. You learn and you live and learn, and you need to remember those things. Making mistakes are one thing. Making mistakes twice, not a good thing. Right, definitely. I mean, one of the greatest things in building a business these days is making the mistakes and learning from them. It seems like you definitely learn from them later on in the development of your company. Mm-hmm. So what would you say was the most influential part on yourself with having your company? How did you grow as an entrepreneur, as a salesman? What would you say did the most for you when you owned and operated your own company?
Well, I mean, I go back to talking to the different people. Networking was probably bigger than anything, and not I used to have a saying that the only bad appointment is the appointment you don't take. Mm-hmm. You learn from everything. You learn from every interview. You learn from every sales call. You learn from every meeting you have. You never know what's going to be around the next corner. There was You know, the line in the movie Castaway, you know, where Tom Hanks said, you know, tomorrow the sun's going to rise, the tide's going to come in, and no telling what it's going to bring. So the next sales call, the next opportunity is going to be an opportunity, and you need to be ready for it, and you need to take it. Meeting the people in the industry and talking to them, it's all about relationships. It's all about people.
Right. That's awesome. Well, that pretty much concludes our interview. Thank you very much for your time and your help and all your answers to my questions.
Sounds good.